Today we're here at the Hoornse. This lake attracts thousands of people every year looking for a nice warm summer day at the beach. But it hasn't always been like this. This is Paterswoldsemeer. It is the result of years of peat excavation in the 1800s and 1900s. In the 19th century the rich people used it for recreational purposes. And after World War II also the common people started to use it. The Hoornse and Hoornsemeer were nowhere to be seen yet. They were constructed in the 70s, first the Hoornse and later the Hoornsemeer. They were divided by this dam and eventually connected to their bigger brother, the Paterswoldsemeer. During the warm summer months, this lake is infested with blue-green algae. This is technically not an algae but a bacteria. When a body of water is infested with blue-green algae, it becomes unsafe for humans to use. In most bodies of water, blue-green algae are naturally present. This isn't a problem necessarily, but due to the warm water, the amount of nutrients in the water flow, depth and location of the body of water, the algae can multiply. Blue-green algae mostly thrives on warm, shallow, still-lying and nutrient-rich waters, which the Hoornse is a perfect example of. Upon death, the bacteria releases toxic substances which can cause health issues, not only to humans but also to pets. Symptoms contain, but are not limited, to rash, itchiness, ear infections, dizziness, breathing issues, stomach and intestinal problems and headaches. By absorbing the water, or just by merely being in contact with it, you can get these symptoms. The amount of blue-green algae in the water is measured in micrograms per liter. At 12 micrograms per liter, risk level 1 is at play, and at 75 micrograms per liter, risk level 2 is at play. Risk level 1 results in advisory warnings with negative swimming advice, while risk level 2 can even lead to official swimming bans because of serious health concerns. At this point in time, in the middle of May, the lake has a value of less than 1 microgram per liter. Usually at the end of July, this level goes to about 12 micrograms per liter, to risk level 1 with the consequence of a negative advice of using the lake. In 2020, the RIVM created the Blue-Green Algae Protocol. This is also where the risk levels were introduced. It is impossible to fully prevent blue-green algae from contaminating the lake, but it is important to keep the values below these risk levels. These guidelines are not just national guidelines, they were established by the EU.
So, when a bloom appears here at the Hoornsemeer, which action is taken by the water authority?
Essentially, when our monitoring detects significant levels of these cyanobacteria or confirms the presence of toxins above a certain threshold, we have to act to protect public health. The lake closures you see are a necessary step to prevent people from being exposed to potentially harmful concentrations of these toxins through swimming, accidental ingestion, or even inhalation of aerosols. It's following what's often called the precautionary principle. So basically, erring on the side of caution when there's a risk to public health.
Thank you for explaining. This was Wouter for Hoornsemeer News.
I'm standing here now with someone who frequently visits the lake. How do you feel about the recurring infestation of blue-green algae in the summer?
Yeah, I think it's a shame, since summer is the time everyone wants to go for a swim. Also hanging out with friends or just overall social interaction like meeting new people. Yeah, that's not really an option anymore, so that's kind of sad.
And if I understand it correctly, you actually suffered from the blue-green algae?
Yes, that is true. It happened a few years ago with some friends in the early summer. One of my friends also suffered from the symptoms afterwards, but I got pretty sick as well, yeah.
What kind of ailments did you experience during the sickness?
Well, I woke up in the middle of the night because I wasn't feeling really well with a huge stomach ache. So yeah, I basically had to rush to the toilet to go number 2. So yeah, that wasn't very pretty, no.
Yeah, I can imagine. Did it last long?
I think a little less than a week, if I remember correctly.
Well, I pity your parents.
Yes, so did I.
Well, thank you for the interview.
Yes, no problem.
So, we just heard it's not pretty to ingest blue-green algae. Is there something we can do to stop it from reappearing?
Yeah, we are trying our hardest to prevent the blue-green algae from multiplying to toxic quantities, and these measures all come from the Water Framework Directive, and the goal of these measures is to make the number of available nutrients as low as possible. For instance, nitrogen and phosphate are 2 substances that cause extreme rises in blue-green algae levels.
Okay, and what should I imagine with these measures?
Well, we can, for instance, reduce nitrogen levels in the water by stopping the use of artificial compost, or what we're doing here, next to the Hoornsedijk pumping station, we are constructing an iron sand passage that contributes to the reduction of the phosphate load. The discharged polder water is then purified and arrives cleaner at the Paterswoldsemeer. However, chances of blue-green algae disappearing completely are very slim.
So people getting sick is then inevitable.
I'm afraid so. However, we are working on sensors that can detect smaller amounts of algae in the water and warn people in time.
Well, that is good to hear. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
This has been Wouter for Paterswoldsemeer News.
As we've seen, the Hoornse and Paterswoldsemeer, which were once created for leisure and recreation, now face a reappearing summertime problem: blue-green algae. Though it is technically a bacteria, it thrives in warm, shallow, nutrient-rich waters and can release toxic substances that pose serious health issues for humans and animals, with symptoms ranging from rashes to stomach and digestion issues. Authorities have set strict EU-backed guidelines to manage these outbreaks, including risk levels measured in micrograms per liter, where 12 micrograms per liter equals risk level 1 and a negative swimming advice, and level 2 equals 75 micrograms per liter and can lead even to swimming bans. Here in the Hoornsemeer, levels usually rise to 12 micrograms per liter in the summer. Despite efforts, full prevention or solutions to blue-green algae remain unlikely. However, steps are being taken. Nutrient reduction is key through limiting artificial fertilizers and constructing treatment systems, like the new iron sand passage near the Hoornsedijk pumping station. Meanwhile, innovative sensors are in development to provide earlier warning. It is a tough battle, but with smarter monitoring and environmental management, there is hope these beautiful lakes can stay safe and swimmable for the future summers.